So there was this one time I became homeless for 3 days, and it was the scariest moment of my life. It all started completely by accident. This was right after I dropped out of the college in the middle of my very first semester. As soon as I dropped out, I had to leave the dormitory immediately. So I sat down and carefully thought about my next move. I figured if I moved to countryside of Massachusetts, rent would be way cheaper than in Boston. So I did some intense research and actually found a super cheap apartment out in the countryside. Long story short, I signed the lease and the landlord told me that I could move in 2 weeks. In the meantime, I bounced between a few of my friends' apartments, just trying to stay afloat. One thing I knew, I needed a car. You can't really function in the countryside of America without a car. So I scraped together what little I had left in my bank account and bought a car. It was a beat-up old Japanese Subaru for $600. It ran perfectly, but it looked like it was held together by duct tape. There were dents all over it. It looked like it had survived the war, but I didn't care. I was just excited to finally start a new chapter of my life. And then I made a huge mistake. I messed up the move-in date. I thought I could move in on Friday, but that lease didn't actually start until 3 days later. I didn't have money left for a hotel. I didn't want to bother my friends again. I had nowhere to go. So I made a decision that would lead to the scariest 72 hours of my life. I decided to sleep in my car. At first, I was like, it's just 3 days. It'll be fine.
Easy peasy, Japanesey.
Oh yeah, and this is from Shawshank Redemption, my mother's favorite American movie. Highly recommend watching it. It felt so depressing to realize that it was my first time owning my own car, and the first thing I did with it was be homeless and sleep in it. That first night, I pulled into a random Walmart parking lot because apparently that's what people living in the cars do. I must have seen it on YouTube or something. I curled up in the back seat with a blanket, trying my best to sleep. It was cold and the wind wasn't just blowing, it was shoving. You could hear it howling past the car windows like some kind of angry spirit. And then in the middle of the night, bam! A thunderous bang shocked the whole car. I bolted upright, heart pounding out of my chest. For a split second, I thought someone was literally trying to rip my car door open. Turns out, the wind had picked up a stray Walmart shopping cart from somewhere across the lot and slammed it straight into my side door. I just sat in the back seat, frozen, and now wide awake. Okay, so this is what being homeless feels like. And for a moment, I didn't feel scared. I felt small, like I had suddenly entered a world I never fully understood before. A world that too many people live in every single day. And I realized I wouldn't last a week like this. The next night, I definitely didn't want to go back to the Walmart parking lot. So I drove around until I found a random street in Boston that looked safe. I curled up in the back seat again, wrapped in my blanket, trying to sleep. And then, around 2 a.m., I heard a noise, a sound, a jiggle. The handle on my car door was moving. I realized that someone was trying to break into my car. I froze, like completely frozen. Heart pounding, mind racing. I couldn't move. I couldn't even breathe. I said to myself, is this it? Is this how my life ends? After all, this is America. Land of freedom, and anybody can carry a gun. What if he had a gun? I seriously thought I was going to die. But then some pedestrians walked by chatting, and the guy trying to break into my car went away. I stayed still, tried to understand what just happened. My eyes wide open, completely rattled. Eventually, I started the engine and I drove away. I couldn't stop driving the rest of that night. I went on to the highway. I kept driving and driving and driving until I saw the sunrise. On the third night, I found this restaurant called IHOP. It's basically a pancake house that's open 24/7. I stayed there until 3 a.m. Then I just drove my car the rest of the night. This was a traumatic experience and a somber moment in my life. I realized that when your money runs out, you could actually become homeless, that it could actually happen to me. The next day, I finally moved into my new apartment, and I cannot even describe the feeling. Being able able to sleep in the bed, being able to take a hot shower, it was the biggest relief I've ever felt. And something inside me had changed. For the first time, I realized how fragile my life really was, how quickly everything could fall apart. Knowing, statistically speaking, less than 1% of artists are able to make a living being an artist. That was the day I made a decision. If I was going to survive as an artist, I'd have to go all in. No more half trying, no more waiting for a miracle. Since that day, I've worked every single day. No weekends, no vacations, no days off. Just me and my dream. I've learned that the worst situation in your life can be the catalyst to change everything from the ground up. That when you hit rock bottom, that's actually the time you can step on the bottom to jump up. But that experience also opened my eyes. We live in a world where some people have more money than they could ever spend, while millions don't even have a place to sleep. That is crazy. You don't need $1 billion to be happy, and no one should be afraid of freezing to death in the street. That night in my car, something was born in me. A new desire to end this cruel capitalism we've just accepted as normal and to help create something new, something better, something more human. Looking back, what I did in those 3 days sounds so stupid and dangerous. But they taught me something I never would have learned in any classroom. I learned how close I was to losing everything and how close I still am. But I also learned how strong a dream can be. Strong enough to pull you through the fear and the doubt. And if you're out there chasing your dreams, let's not give up. Even if we have to step back a lot sometimes, it's just a temporary step back. We just hold on, because the darkest moments in your life can be the dawn before the sunrise.